Hi guys, I just wanted to discuss what I think is the method of gang stalking, as in people stalking you in a gang, more than one, multiple stalkers, gang stalking. So I just wanted to introduce you to what I think happens here in Uruguay in the gang stalking is that they'll have a cheap moped or scooter type of setup to hoon around early in the mornings to see if people are looking in the big bins on the corners here. Sometimes I've looked through those bins as well. You find some interesting things hanging on them, beside them, and in them. And not just that, they're just always hooning around that neighborhood like this and patrolling. And then that's the person that can radio back and go, hey, I saw this here. So they're the mobile eyes. Now that's going to be drones soon. And that's why we should be speaking up about it. Because it's just going to be drones literally harassing you. Because they're physical things. They're going to be physical little robots harassing you on behalf of somebody else. That's all that should matter. Yeah, it's in the name of this and that, justice and peace via war and psychological torment and so on and so forth of the sick society. And gang stalking does look like a super neurotic control method of a dying empire or a struggling for power empire, or an empire that's not doing things the right way, a control system that's not doing things the correct way, obviously, if there's so much backlash, that they need to gang stalk everyone in order, to make you fall in line energetically and mentally so you don't question anything. Those people that don't question authority? That's what they want everyone like. those robotic portal type people. So these organic portal, they act as human prison frequency bars. So like frequency control is what they do. They try and control your expression, your frequency, your experience, and so on. I always say that they go out of their way to mess with your way and onto your way, but they're going out of their way, what would be their way, on behalf or for behalf of some sort of demon or something, like Satan's army people are calling organic portals as well. Because if you see what's coming through them, then yes, that's an apt statement when you're talking about demons coming through them and all this. So anyway, one thing I wanted to just say was how I think this happens. They got the scooter person, so it's cheap, so they can patrol constantly all day in the morning, even at night time. And I think I even have come to be able to recognize the sound of certain cars or scooters, because it's a very I think what you call rural sort of area here. It's not too many people around, and it's also pretty cold most of the year, so there's not too much activity, especially in the autumn, winter and spring. There's not too much activity, and you can get to know all the sounds a lot here, because there's a lot of nature around me, and it's like a square around me, the roads, so you can hear for like a square around you. And what I find interesting is that they probably just call up, they ride through the neighborhoods, then they call up, oh, we've seen this here, full on eyes of the Matrix, we saw that here, we saw this on that corner. They do it the cheap way, but don't forget that that's going to become annoying drones, not just, people gawking at you from mopeds. Soon it'll be annoying drones in the sky, buzzing around you, like that video I said, the Matrix Hive Mind, the buzz, that video I made. I said, you'll know, it'll be a sound, like a buzzing, like your phone, hopefully, and I can't wait for this so I don't have to hold my phone. Hopefully the phone will fly around and take your orders and then fly your orders to your other robots. So you just sort of speak to your phone, which is flying in front of your face or on the side of your head, asking you questions to give orders to your robots. That's the future I imagine pretty soon, you know, flying phones. But anyway, back to the control grid, and you know, that'll be drones soon. The people on mopeds, which I think do it here in it's a very small time local sort of area here. So I'm not talking city, because in the city it's probably you know, well, it could be similar, you know, by cheap method, by a lot of dispersal and a lot of eyes on, you know, a lot of riding around the neighborhood on the moped, by, you know, cheap dispersal of the eyes. And, you know, they've got the cameras fixed, and then they've got the moving people, which will be robots soon, but the moving people on mopeds and so on, and in cars and planes overhead and choppers, helicopters. But, you know, that's what mainly happens. You know, I think around here they've got the little moped, they see you picking fruit off some, you know, tree that's near someone's house or something, and it's already a suspicion, and you'll see the security car show up. That's the next step, you know, you get that little security car. You'll see that on my videos plenty of times, I'm sure. I've already shown it, I think, once or twice. And you'll get the little security car, and then you'll get police starting to patrol intimidatory style, and, you know, really letting you know that they're watching you, you know. So there's just a leveling up, and I just wanted to talk about that. First, the moped, because, you know, sometimes I thought, where did that security car even come from? Maybe one of the neighborhood people. And yeah, most definitely all the neighborhood watch people are either negative-souled humans, or they are organic portal or robotic portal. And a lot of them are actually robotic portals in the neighborhood watch, by the way. That's what I say. It's my adage. You'll find a large percentage of neighborhood watch type people will be robotic portals, which means they're negative ET guided, like Zeta Reticuli in association with, I don't know, reptilian races or something, blah blah blah, Draco, and etc. for the control grid under the Archon guidance, you know, as an alliance. But it can be any one of the different species of negative extra dimensionals, EDs is what I prefer to call them, instead of terrestrials. So the negative EDs, or negative extra dimensional entities, like the greys to the reptilians, etc., the fourth dimensions, all the dimensional entities, which are by other people being called matrix agents themselves, which is a good way to put it. If you understand just the terminology agent, just look it up, what the meaning of agent is. It's just, you know, someone who does something on behalf of someone or some force or some greater reasoning. When you're just an actor or the protagonist for a force, a way of being, a school of thought, etc. So yeah, I just wanted to say that's one way I think that this is the main focus of this video. That's one way that I think this works. Look out for it. You'll see, like, a localized, stare at you, alert call, like the video I made, alert call stare, or like I'm saying, like a ride by, like moped or something, will stare. So, it starts at that level, and that's why we say that it's spiritual and vendettic and demonic and so on. This gang stalking, that's why we say it's all those things, because it starts at, and that it's community based, and that it's spiritual as well. And vendettic was one word I said. Now that's vendettic on their behalf of the compromised mind, which is like an overlay, and which, yes, is correlative to ego as well. It's not the same thing, but they, just like the compromised mind is not the monkey brain, and the monkey brain is also not the ego. They're different things, but all those three things work together. And I was going to say in a sort of negative sense, or for Satan or Lucifer's universe or something like this, So yeah, anyway, gang stalking is definitely spiritual, and that's a way how it's community based and how it starts like that. And I had a video recently I shot that was called Gang Stalking, the Ricochet Effect, like a ricochet. What I meant by that was like, a toppling of dominoes, or like a bullet bouncing off something, and maybe, or like the saying, killing two birds with one stone. I don't like the saying, but you get the meaning. There's a ricochet effect in gang stalking where, maybe they start out snooping you in the neighborhood, you get put on some list that way, look out for this guy, the neighborhood watch, and then you get escalated to police, and it can just get escalated, because in my case, clearly with all the, the military choppers, the police, the Coast Guard, all the helicopters, the planes they can muster, all the people on mopeds, bikes, cars, clearly in my case, in 10 years now, like 10 years later almost, it's 9 years since I really started noticing it on a, intense, full-on level, where it's from community all the way to like secret agencies, right up the top. And I think even, because someone out of the UK, and I'm starting to think MI6 or whatever is involved now. That's how crazy I think this is. Because once they've put me on a list for domestic extremist, the feds in Australia, the federal police in Australia, they would have done that as a domestic extremist in Australia just for conspiracy theories, and I was always a vocal advocate for cannabis. I don't know why else, because it's gang stalking. Because at some point some cop probably had a spiritual issue with me and a vendetta that he couldn't get me in trouble for whatever he was trying to frame me for. He had to frame me even further and put me on, some kind of list which is like domestic extremist or something. Because that's when I started really noticing, what the hell is going on, when it was like very federal looking level. I had undercover people, and I could just tell for years I had very obvious undercover stuff go on. And so it escalates, and that's called the ricochet effect. That's what I was saying in that video, and I was making up that concept, creating that concept that gang stalking has a ricochet effect. So this is like kind of another take on that, I guess, and it shows you the connection of how it happens. So this is just really trying to, I guess, affirm to the people who understand, the in crowd or the adept or the people who are gang stalked, to check out on the community-based level and just really try and counter surveillance this stuff, because I'm starting to try and do that all the way through now. And yeah, just check out how it starts on the community-based level with mopeds and all this on that level. So that's how it happens here anyway. And I have to go because the space or storage is running out. Please like the video and feel free to share and look at the other videos that I mentioned in this video. Benjamin Cowenberg, consciousazine.net.